Well, in this episode, I will go back to 1973 fall semester when I started off with a teaching assistantship. Teaching assistantship actually entails is a remuneration of $250 monthly and a tuition waiver. You don't pay any tuition fee for the courses you enroll. All the teaching assistants can take only 9 credit hours per semester, and the remainder of the time you are supposed to work for the department, including the teaching of the laboratories. And every class will have 20 students each. And the laboratory class, actually Geology 101 lecture are by Professor Hand and Professor Muller. These are two stalwart teachers of introductory geology to the freshman students. And it is actually the freshman student who come and register for Geology 101. Either they have some kind of affinity to the subject or just like that, gate crashed into the geology department and registered. And there will be usually 250 to 300 students registered for Geology 101. And if then there is more students, naturally there will be a larger number of lab classes. Every student will be taught 9 or 10 laboratory classes of 2 hours each. In fact, the labs will start at 8 o'clock in the morning in the geology department and go on until 10 at night. Only then, the younger students, like a 250 to 300, can get an opportunity to go through what is called the 10 different lab exercises. So, before we started off with the actual lab, the Professor Collette, a professor of science teaching in the Syracuse University and a good friend of Daniel Merriam, our chairman, he came and addressed the new and older graduate students, teaching assistants, as to the do's and don'ts and whys and hows of teaching a class. And one of the most important things he underlined and told us was, if your girlfriend is in the class, don't report it to the faculty, and then either get rid of that class or you change to a different batch because of the vulnerability. Or if there is a relation also, which is very rare in the class, you also go and declare to the concerned teachers or faculty, and you either get rid of the student to another class or you change your lab. So every graduate student, full-time graduate student, teaching assistant will have to teach 3 labs every week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or some kind of such arrangement. You may either teach 2 labs every day and 1 lab another day, or 3 labs, alternating with the Monday, Wednesday, Friday, like that. Anyway, so this is actually a major income to the department, and also this is what supports the graduate students working toward a PhD or master's degree. And then, I had also courses. I had courses like physical sedimentology, chemical sedimentology by Walter Dean 2, chemical sedimentology 2, that's what it is. Then physical geology 2. And I had to do these courses. I had to keep my decent grades, at least an A, or 2 A's and 1 B, like that, whatever. And Bryce Hand's class was very interesting, physical sedimentology. It was a seminar. And every one of us, we were like 10 people in the class, and the class met between 6 p.m. in the evening and say 9 or 9:30 in the evening. and only one meeting per week. And the class was very interesting. Every student had to make a presentation, and Sir also gave a lot of assigned readings. And it was an overview of physical process of sedimentation, of sedimentary rocks and sedimentary processes. And in that class, I met a senior undergraduate, in other words, a senior student, who was very keen on about geoscience. And this person asked me, if I was married. I said yes. And where is my wife? I said she's in India. Are you planning to bring her over? I said yes. And I said then I need $200 of bank balance so that I can sponsor her to come over to US. Then he said, okay, I will be able to help you. Why don't we go and talk to the graduate student office in the Steel Hall? And of course, gladly I accompanied him the next day, and we went over to the graduate student office, to the concerned desk, and rather the person concerned. Then this, his name is Matt, first name. He just asked the official that he will be ready to sponsor. What is the process? Then she said, very simple, fill in this form. And in there, you'll have to put your address, social number, social security number, etc. He did all that. Then his assets, like for example, his bank balance, his fixed assets, and his investment in stocks and bonds. I was flabbergasted because he's worth, based on what he said, he used to have 2 homes somewhere in Chicago, and $70,000 in a local bank, and some jewelry worth $25,000. So the official, that woman, read through this and said, "Oh, wonderful, keep it up, make more." And then all that she had to do was, she has to make this affidavit official by stamping her what is called seal of approval. She is actually one of the people approved by the Home Department of the United States as an attorney at law who can endorse such statements or affidavits. And she took a copy of it. There is a Xerox machine in this room, and gave me the original. And I told Matt, "Thank you very much, Matt. I don't know how to reply to this kind-heartedness, etc." Then what I did, I just had it forwarded over to India. In India, to Geetha. And by December, Geetha completed her MD exam. And the examiner who was examining the 2 candidates for MD microbiology, Professor Ananta Narayanan, after the viva he told Geetha that, "Hey, look, Geetha, you appear again. We are not passing you this time." That is the comment. Our problem in India is a lot of nepotism. Nepotism is dancing even today as well as in the past. So, Geetha felt very bad because there is no way she could have lost the exam, but she was asked to stay back and appear again after, any year or whatever, whenever she chooses. So she came, she was sad, she came home and, rejoined the Medical College of Trivandrum in the microbiology department. And of course, the candidate who was passed also is from the same department. And anyway, then when I had sent the sponsorship by Mr. Matt James, something like that, that is his name. Then she processed it through the American consulate, forwarded all the forms and etc. And they gave an appointment. She went over to Madras consulate, and without any question, visa was approved. Then, what happens? Time is rolling past. 1974, spring semester came. I again registered for the courses, and by April, Geetha got her visa stamped. And there was a trouble in the visa date. She, entered United States only in the month of 4th of July or 5th of July. On that particular date, her visa expired. So what happened was, after the spring semester, at the end of the April, I had made enough money, saved enough money to buy a car, a $300 Ford Cortina. Yes, it is a European make Ford, a second-hand car with auto transmission. It is a compact car. No, I wouldn't say not subcompact, it's a compact. So I enjoyed the driving of the car, before I got to purchase immediately after purchasing the car, I took the car to downtown to the motor vehicles department. And there I was given a number plate, and then I exchanged my Indian driving license for an American driving license. And the official there on the other side of the desk told me that, gentleman, this is a wonderful thing that this is your first car probably in the United States. You have to be very careful about driving in the United States, and especially when you begin to drive in the interstate. Because until and unless you become certain about your skills in driving in the city streets, don't go to the interstate. Because that is something where you can drive the car at a maximum speed of 55 miles per hour. And of course, very orderly traffic. Everybody knows, everybody who had been there would know how orderly the traffic is. Well, then another thing I did was I just hired an apartment in the graduate students, married students housing in the Slocum Heights. I still remember the number. The building number is 6, Slocum Heights 6, and apartment number is 12. Because the apartment number 12 is on the upper floor, second floor, and of the Slocum Heights 6. And, well, of course, it is a one-room apartment. And I had to make a lot of cleaning. It's furnished with the minimum furniture, and there's a fridge. Then I had to do some kind of what is called cleaning of the carpet. Cleaning of the carpet is a very tough job. You have to do what is called shampooing. That is what you do. So you have to hire a machine, a shampooing machine. A shampoo you can buy from a grocery store. And I worked on the floor. In other words, it does a sort of a disinfection and cleaning of the dust and dirt. So that was done. Then I purchased used a television set for $25, a black and white TV. And food stuff or materials from the grocery store, stuff that in the refrigerator. Then, by that time, during the spring semester, I was living with Swapan in a 700 Lancaster, because Swapan defended his PhD in the fall of 73, and then he did not have any kind of assistantship. So I thought if I moved over to Chopin by spring 74, then I can pay the rent and Chopin can just sleep in that room. So he said, okay, if you think you would like to do that, I am agreeable. So I packed up and from the Ostrom 600 to Lancaster 700 or so. And it is from there I had to shift to what is called the Slocum Heights Married Student Housing. and it is a one-room apartment in Slocum Heights, 612. Yes. Then, of course, Geetha was supposed to arrive on the July 5th. What I did, I took a Greyhound from Syracuse. I purchased 2 tickets by Braniff from New York, John F. Kennedy to Syracuse, and reached early morning. It is a night bus, is very comfortable. Reached early morning in the Port Authority building, and then I had a lot of leisure time because the plane was supposed to, Air India was supposed to land only at 5 o'clock in the evening in JFK. By around 2 o'clock, I went to JFK, wandered around there, and at 9 o'clock, at 5 o'clock, there was an announcement, Air India flight such and such from originating from Delhi via so-and-so place has landed. So many Indians and non-Indians, Americans, Europeans, everybody was walking out of the gate. And except that, I never saw Geetha coming out. I saw some Indians also coming out. Then, when the last person came out, last person in the sense, and then nobody else was coming out, I got a little perplexed. The 2 girls with sari robes, and obviously working for Air India, came along and shouting for Thrivikramji, like that. Then I waved at them and I just walked toward them, and then they said, one of the girls told me that you have to go to the immigration, your wife is waiting for you. So I did not know why she was waiting. I went over to the immigration, and there was only two white immigration officials, and of course Geetha was there. And then one of those guys told me, you are Mr. Thrivikramji, right? I said, yes. This is your wife. I said, yes. You are a student in Syracuse University doing a PhD. I said, that is also correct. Then this man says, well, take a good look at your wife. We are going to put her back in the next available plane back to India because her visa expired. That is very strange. Well, we never thought of the so-called July 4 or 5, that date. And then I did not know what to do. Geetha was in a very tense, and probably under tension, but that age was actually, you can hide so many things. We were very young. And then the other official, probably the junior man or a senior man, who I don't know, he told, well, Mr. Thrivikramji, you can take your wife. We are allowing her to go with you, and she can stay there wherever in Syracuse for 1 month only. Either if you don't get a visa extended for another year, we will make sure that she is put in a plane and she is gone back to India. Or else you can get a visa from Buffalo. Well, it was a great blessing. And what we did, then, proper stamping, etc. were done. And it was actually a grace period. I don't think now it will happen in the new era of American policy on immigration and visa stamping, etc. So we then rushed back over to the baggage section, checked the baggage. But of course there was plenty of time. It was only 7 o'clock. But of course well over 2 hours she wasn't, she had to wait. And then what we grabbed the luggage and then walked over to another end of halfway through where there is a Braniff airline checking in counter. So I showed the ticket coupons and, we were given the boarding pass. By around 9 o'clock, the plane was supposed to leave New York City, JFK. And it is a very short flight, takes only 35 or 40 minutes. After $25 is the airfare per person. So we landed in what is called the Syracuse International Airport, probably the last flight to that airport that night. And we came out of the terminal building. Then Ghanshyam Srivastava was waiting there with Sapangosh. We boarded that car and went straight to Ghanshyam's apartment. And again in Slocum Heights, we had something to eat, and then we Kansham dropped us back into our apartment 12 in block 6. So that is how we started a new life in Syracuse. And well, I think it was a very exciting time for us in our life.